Memorial Day weekend, best, worst times to travel in Western Washington. We're days away from the Memorial Day holiday weekend, and that means more people are hitting the roads. The Washington State Department of Transportation released its travel charts for the holiday weekend on the best and worst times to be on I-90 and I-5. Analysts with the department looked at how many cars were on the road over past Memorial Day weekends on southbound and northbound I-5 from Lacey to Tacoma and eastbound and westbound I-90 from North Bend to Clay Elum. AAA, Seattle will be the second most popular Memorial Day destination. Article. AAA, Seattle will be the second most popular Memorial Day destination. AAA announced on Tuesday that 39.2 million Americans will travel over the Memorial Day holiday weekend and is one of the top destinations in Seattle. The charts show how many cars the department projects to be on the road each hour throughout this weekend. Here are the charts below. Eastbound I-90, North Bend to Clay Elum. Eastbound I-90, North Bend to Clay Elum. Westbound I-90, North Bend to Clay Elum. CDC lifts final COVID-19 travel restriction Sunday. Final COVID-19 travel restriction lifts Sunday. The last COVID-19 travel restriction has been lifted for air travelers overseas. As of Sunday, you no longer need a negative COVID test to get into the U.S. as you return from abroad. Seattle, the last COVID-19 travel restriction has been lifted for air travelers overseas. As of Sunday, you no longer need a negative COVID test to get into the U.S. as you return from abroad. The White House and Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say it is no longer necessary, and the mandate has been rescinded right at the start of summer. At the same time, the CDC says more than 100,000 Americans are testing positive for COVID in King County, with cases up 19% from just a week ago. Hospitalizations are up, too, with an average of 15 per day. It's always a risk when you travel in this day and age, said Michael Park, who is traveling to London for work. People need to work, people need to play and be willing to see each other. They didn't have any flight attendants. So we were 4 hours late, said Frank Seymour, arriving from Miami. The airlines are going to have to get more employees, and I don't know where they're going to find them. Related, U.S. lifts COVID-19 test requirement for international travel. Get breaking news alerts in the free Fox 13 Seattle app. Download for Apple iOS or Android. And sign up for breaking news emails delivered straight to your inbox. Travelers say the move will also increase travel demands at a time when airlines are already dealing with staffing shortages and cancellations. Ahead of the changes, the CDC warns they will reassess their decision in 90 days and will reinstate the requirement if necessary. Top things to do with kids in Tokyo. From Disneyland to the Ghibli Museum, capital of Japan is famously crowded, colorful, and charismatic. Tokyo is also great fun for families, with a host of attractions that offer maximum amusement for tiny travelers, from giant video game arcades to the anime-focused Ghibli Museum. Tokyo is also a parent's dream when it comes to the logistics of travel. The city is clean, safe, and comes with every modern convenience. Though the sheer mass of people can be overwhelming and some of the city's top attractions may not appeal to younger kids, there are plenty of sites and activities that are guaranteed to keep the whole family entertained. From Disneyland to the gaming arcades of Akihabara, here's our guide to the top things to do in Tokyo with kids, and the practicalities for exploring with pint-sized travelers in tow. Squeeze every moment out of your next vacation with tips and tricks from Lonely Planet in our weekly newsletter delivered to your inbox. Is Tokyo a good place to visit for kids? Visiting Tokyo with kids is not without its challenges. Navigating one of the world's most complex railway systems and trying to extol the virtues of raw fish are just two of the obstacles you may need to overcome. However, Tokyo makes up for it in spades with its sheer variety of excursions and the childlike energy permeating modern Japanese culture. A deluge of never-ending gaming arcade halls, cartoon character-themed street art, cosplay costumes, stores stacked with saccharine confectionery, pulsating amusement parks, and the vibrant absurdity of life in Tokyo are all sure to keep the little ones entertained. Best things to do in Tokyo with kids. Kids, and kids at heart, will get a kick out of Tokyo kidult obsession with toys, anime, manga, and everything to do with pop culture. Here's our kid-friendly Tokyo starter pack. Firework display at Odaiba Rainbow Bridge in Tokyo, Japan. The Odaiba district has plenty of entertaining stops for kids. Copyright Shingo Tamura, Getty Images. Discover a real-life toy town in Odaiba. Typified by imposing landmarks such as the manga-tastic unicorn Gundam statue, a miniature Statue of Liberty, and the polychromatic Rainbow Bridge, Odaiba is Tokyo's vision of a utopian future. Even better, this high-tech district dominating a patch of reclaimed land in Tokyo Bay is filled with a hefty assortment of kid-friendly diversions. For kids with an engineering mindset, the Legoland Discovery Center has the potential to supply hours of brick-building fun, and will recreate the good old days for AFOLs, adult fans of Lego, too. With kids in tow, you can't skip out on Joypolis, a Sega-themed indoor amusement park that features fairground games, titular icons such as Sonic the Hedgehog, roller coasters, virtual reality experiences, and arcade machines. 21 of the best free things to do in Tokyo, from shrines to sumo. Find favorite anime heroes on Character Street. In the depths of Tokyo Station, the corridor known colloquially as Character Street is like the Asian version of Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium. Even if your kids aren't familiar with all the characters, the colorful chaos of anime soundtracks, action figure heroes, daikaiju, giant monster toys, cartoon character teddy bears and gakepon, capsule toy machines are sure to be a hit. Of the 30 shops on offer, the Studio Ghibli store, which has some marvelously creative merchandise, and the Pokémon Center are arguably the most recognizable to a global audience. If you want to introduce the kids to some Japanese favorites, look for merchandise relating to Hello Kitty, Doraemon, and Ultraman. Minnie Mouse and women dance in red flowered dresses. Tokyo has 2 Disney parks offering a Japanese-flavored version of the world-famous Disney formula. Copyright Yoshikazu Tsuno, Getty Images. Get the full theme park experience at Disneyland and Disney Sea. Japan has a childlike fascination with theme parks, and Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea, located just outside the city in neighboring Chiba Prefecture, are its 2 most popular parks. Both Disneyland and Disney Sea are well connected to the Tokyo metropolitan area by public transport, and a 2-day pass covers admission to both sites. Tokyo Disneyland was the first Disney resort to be built outside of the United States in 1983, and it follows a similar architectural blueprint to the original Disneyland in California. Of Tokyo's 2 Disney parks, it caters far better to younger children, with fewer thrill rides and a focus on family-friendly attractions, such as Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, the Mark Twain Riverboat, and Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters. Disney Sea is more accommodating for older kids, teens, and adults. The name reflects its nautical facade, with 7 themed areas, known as ports of call, sitting within sight of the Pacific Ocean. Sinbad's storybook voyage and Finding Nemo-inspired turtle talk should excite smaller children. Older kids will probably favor higher-octane excursions such as Indiana Jones Adventure, Temple of the Crystal Skull, or the Tower of Terror. Gallery-goers are visible in silhouette in a large room which is strung with neon pink lamps, which are reflected prettily in the mirrored floor. Resplendent displays and visual trickery at Team Lab's Borderless Art Exhibition in Tokyo. Copyright Charlie Tribalo, Getty Images. Dive into a vision of the future on Tokyo Bay. Tokyo is famously obsessed with the future, and the world depicted in robot-themed manga comics feels tantalizingly close at the National Museum of Emerging Science and Innovation, Muraikan, on the edge of Tokyo Bay. Here, while exploring with a video game-themed smartphone app, kids with a scientific bent can view the latest in robot tech, including regular demonstrations by the startlingly human-like Osimo. Teens will also appreciate the remarkable digital art installations at Team Lab Borderless, which bring to life a surreal vision of the future that draws on Japanese sci-fi, but will also look familiar to fans of Blade Runner and Ghost in the Shell. A short journey north at Tokyo Dome City, TEI-NQ takes the interactive journey into space, with exhibits that aim to create a sense of wonder, rather than just static displays of space memorabilia. Tourists on the observation deck at the Tokyo Skytree. The views from the observation decks at Tokyo Skytree are stupendous. Copyright Benny Marty, Shutterstock. Take in all of Tokyo from the top of Tokyo Skytree. At 634 meters, 2,080 feet, Tokyo Skytree is the second tallest freestanding tower on the planet, so you can expect stupendous views from the top. From its 2 observation decks, kids can enjoy a genuine floating in the sky experience. Observing the suburbs racing towards the horizon in a jumble of concrete blocks, you'll get a real sense of just how outrageously expansive Tokyo is. If the skies are clear, you'll also get unimpeded views of Mount Fuji, standing godlike over the capital. If the kids aren't enthused by the urban sprawl and Tokyo's majestic volcano, the higher of the two decks features frequent art exhibits based on popular anime and video game titles. As a fallback option, the Pokémon Center on the fourth floor could be your saving grace. Swap the big city for scenic views on these 5 top day trips from Tokyo. Exterior of the Ghibli Museum in Tokyo, Japan. The quirky Ghibli Museum, Mitaka, holds the work of famous anime makers, Studio Ghibli, copyright Cowardly and Shutterstock. Find anime heaven at the Ghibli Museum, Mitaka. The Studio Ghibli anime empire, co-created by legendary cartoonist Hayao Miyazaki, is a central pillar of Japanese pop culture, and a trip to the Ghibli Museum in Mitakashi is an enchanting experience for adults and tiny cartoon fans alike. Residing in a toy-like house that's covered in vines and popping with pastel colors and quirky architectural features, the museum is a treasure trove of objects relating to such movies as My Neighbor Totoro and Spirited Away. For those unfamiliar with Studio Ghibli's output, it's worth visiting the museum as an abstract curiosity in its own right. Everything at the museum is perfectly in tune with the studio's surrealist method of storytelling, from the interior design and the creaking study full of Miyazaki's original concept art to the in-house cinema screening Ghibli's latest short films. Buildings in the Akihabara district of Tokyo, Japan. It's all bright lights and arcade games in Tokyo's Akihabara neighborhood, copyright F11 photo, Getty Images. Best neighborhoods for kids in Tokyo. Part of the fun of a trip to Tokyo is exploring the city's diverse neighborhoods. While the pop culture-obsessed district of Akihabara is crammed with video game iconography, a trip here can feel a little like rolling the dice. Visually, its rainbow-splashed main street is sure to impress, as are the flashing hordes of arcade machines and mechanical claw games. They don't call it Electric Town for nothing. Take a wrong turn, however, and you could be stumbling into a lascivious maid cafe, a room full of middle-aged men hypnotized by screens and puffing on cigarettes or actual cartoon porn. To avoid such mishaps, stick to the bottom floors of buildings and follow English-language signage. West of Shinjuku, the district Nakano is great for older kids who have an interest in Japanese pop culture. The Nakano Broadway shopping complex, located at the end of a traditional Shotengai arcade, is full of anime and manga, comics, stores peddling rare and retro collectibles. Harajuku's Takashita Dori, home to hole-in-the-wall crepe stores and colorful confectionery parlors, is a popular haunt for tourists and Tokyo's bohemian youth. However, it's best to avoid Harajuku on weekends, when the pedestrian-only main street becomes so packed it's almost impenetrable.